Welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Aaron Porras.
And I'm Natasha Kircha. Coming up in today's newscast, the assassination of Iran's Qassem Soleimani has been explosive. But how was Israel a part of his takedown?
Online bullying is still a hot-button issue, especially for teens, and we'll show you one great way that parents can protect their kids using technology.
And we'll reveal the incredible transformation that one building has gone through in Tel Aviv.
How involved was Israel in the assassination of Qassem Soleimani? Well, apparently more than we may have thought. Iranian General Qassem Soleimani has long been known as one of the biggest terrorists in the Middle East. And when he was killed in a U.S. airstrike, Israel certainly didn't mourn. Still, Israeli officials said that they didn't want to get involved. We weren't directly involved in the killing of General Soleimani, so why bring us into the war, they said. The problem is that it turns out that's not entirely true. According to NBC News, Israeli intelligence was key to the success of the assassination. Soleimani, as the head of Iran's IRGC Quds force, was responsible for so-called unconventional warfare abroad, like arming and conducting terrorist proxies like Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. And he was killed with his convoy after flying from Damascus to Baghdad, along with several other important pro-Iran officials. But how did the US know exactly where to target the drone strike? Well, NBC now claims that informants in Damascus reported to the CIA which plane Soleimani was on. Then Israeli intelligence confirmed and verified the intel. In fact, the New York Times suggests that Prime Minister Netanyahu was the only U.S. ally to know about the attack before it happened. He and United States Secretary of State Mike Pompeo spoke just ahead of the strike.
It was due to human error and U.S. adventurism. That is the excuse that Iranian officials are now giving to the world for the killing of 176 people on a Ukrainian airplane. And the world is not having it.
We still can't believe this. So it happened 2 days ago, and the whole community is in shock right now. So when you go online, you see the name of your friends, your family names, those people that you talked to the day before this event. So it's still too early for the community to digest that.
82 Iranians, 63 Canadians, 11 Ukrainians, 10 Swedes, 4 Afghans, 3 Germans, and 3 Brits. 176 civilians died in tragedy on Ukrainian Airlines International Flight 752, just minutes after takeoff in Tehran when Iran fired a rocket at the passenger jet. Adding insult to the injury, Iran then lied about it. For days, regime officials withheld the black boxes of the flight as the families of the victims anguished over their loved ones' last moments. And now, finally, after independent investigation, Iran has come out with the truth. The Islamic Nation of Iran fired a rocket on the jet. Well, as a result, thousands have taken to the streets in Iran and around the world to mourn the victims and to call for Khamenei's resignation. Some even chant death to the dictator.
We will do everything we can to stand with you and be with you and to bring international support behind you so that the Iranian regime will be overthrown in 2020. And that's the message of today's event. 2020 regime change.
Meanwhile, other Western powers are now also blasting Iran, especially Ukraine, which suggests that Iran never would have told the truth had Ukrainian investigators not been allowed access. EU aviation authorities are now diverting all traffic around Iran until further notice.
Я закликаю всіх міжнародних партнерів України, всю світову спільноту бути єдиними та наполегливими до повного і остаточного розслідування всіх обставин цієї катастрофи.
Now, in a highly controversial move, Israel has now released 2 security prisoners, including one convicted of espionage.
It's all as a sign of goodwill to Russia.
إرادة الشعب السوري انتصرت وإرادة السيد الرئيس بشار الأسد انتصرت عندما تم إجبار العدو الإسرائيلي والاحتلال الإسرائيلي على الإفراج بدون قيد أو شرط.
This is Sidki al-Makt. He was first released from Israeli prison in 2012 following a 27-year stint just to be sentenced to another 11 years, this time for charges of betrayal, espionage, supporting terror, and contact with hostile organizations. Yet he and another Syrian Druze criminal, Amal Abu Salah, have been freed. Salah had been sentenced to 7 years for the killing of a Syrian civilian, and the question then is why? The answer lies with Russia and the search for missing Israeli soldiers.
Nearly 4 decades ago, during the first Lebanon War, American-Israeli Sergeant Zachary Baumel and 4 other Israeli soldiers went missing. 2 were returned several years later in prisoner exchanges with Syria and the PFLP terror group. But the remaining 3 soldiers have haunted Israel ever since.
It was only with the help of Russian forces in April 2019 that Baumel's remains were finally returned. There are some critics regarding the release, though, as it comes with a heavy price. In addition to letting go of Abu Salah and Al-Makt, Israel also released 2 other prisoners for Baumel back in April, a Fatah terrorist and a convicted drug smuggler.
Others are also calling out the cruel irony of Israel's goodwill as Israeli backpacker and political prisoner Nama Issachar sits in a Russian jail.
All right, extreme weather has been turning things upside down here in Israel, and with the update on conditions is ILTV's Shanna Fuld. Shanna, what's it like in the streets of Tel Aviv?
Yes, Natasha and Aaron, it might be sunny and dry out here in the center of Tel Aviv, but it has not been that way in the last weeks. In fact, the heavy rains and flooding have been so damaging that even 3 people's lives were taken in the last 10 days. On Wednesday, 38-year-old Moti Ben Shabbat died in Nahariya after trying to save a family inside of a car that was caught in the flood. While the people inside the vehicle survived, Ben Shabbat was found dead hours later after having been swept away in the running water. 1,000 showed up to pay their respects at his funeral, which was held on Thursday. Meanwhile, 25-year-olds Dean Yaakov Shoshani and Stav Harari died while in an elevator that became flooded with water in Tel Aviv. Residents heard the 2 banging on the doors and called emergency services, but the crew took between 30 to 60 minutes to arrive and found the pair drowned. Witnesses say they tried, but were unsuccessful in prying the doors open. The Israeli government says the storms have cost 2 billion shekels worth of damages, $500 million of which is going to repair public infrastructure.
כדי למנוע את רוב המקרים, אני מבקש מכם להישמע להנחיות המשטרה וגופי החירום. אם תשמעו לדברים האלה, זה בדיוק כמו מתקפות טילים. אתם יודעים שאם אתם שומעים להנחיות, אתם ברוב המקרים, כמעט בכולם, לא תימצאו בסכנה.
He is also warning people of going out to see flooding in the south of Israel, a phenomena which Israelis often go to watch.
יהיו שיטפונות בנגב. אל תלכו לראות אותם. אל תלכו לראות אותם. אל תעמדו בשולי הנחל. מניסיון אני אומר לכם, הנחל עולה על גדותיו במהירות עצומה. אל תלכו לצפות בשיטפונות. תראו את זה בטלוויזיה.
In 2018, 10 teens were swept away when flash floods hit during a school bonding trip in the Negev. Now, some positive news. Israel has been going through a drought, and 35 inches of rainwater have accumulated on the Sea of Galilee, which is Israel's largest freshwater supply. 9 of those 35 inches accumulated just in one night last week.
An estimated 85% of teens are social media users, according to the Pew Research Center, and over half of adolescents say they've been bullied online. I mean, let's face it, it can be hard for parents to really keep tabs on what their kids are up to on the internet. But joining us now with a solution that could save lives is Enon Landenberg, the CEO and founder of the Basco and Dad app. All right, so tell us a little bit about what your app does.
So we are actually trying to give parents an alert when something bad is happening around their kids. We're trying to give parents a little bit more peace of mind on the day-to-day of their kids.
And how does it do that?
So we are analyzing all the data that goes through the kids' phone. We are not hiding our presence in their kids' phones.
So
we want
kids
them to
know that you're monitoring
Yes,
what's happening.
we treat ourselves like a helmet to a bicycle.
Okay.
We didn't ride our bicycle with helmets, and our kids will never leave home without a helmet. So we analyze all the data that goes through their phone, using very advanced AI and machine learning technologies to analyze all this data, and we alert parents only when their intervention is needed.
Now, how does it know if an intervention is needed versus, say, they're actually just joking. They're actually joking with one another. How does it discern that
So,
something's
and
actually
not just
threatening?
bullying. I mean, that's more
Sure.
specific to bullying, but
Yeah,
I'm sure
that's
there are
true.
other concerns.
Yeah, so we are analyzing, of course, all the images that go to their kids' phone. One of the things that parents are not aware to is that most of the kids have nude images of themselves in their own phones. So we analyze the images, we analyze the text, we analyze the mood of the kids based on the tone, we analyze the behavior of the kids based on the usage of apps. So when a kid that is in average using 2 hours a day communication apps and suddenly is using it only for 10 minutes, he's probably trying to avoid the conversation that is going around him.
Interesting.
We analyze the friend count on the social media. Today, kids, when they want to treat one another and threat one another, they say, I'm going to unfollow you. They're not saying, I'm going to give you a box. So we analyze also when more than 3 friends unfriended your kid in the last 3 hours. We are analyzing a lot of behaviors of the kids, and we update the parents when their intervention is needed.
And I can't help but think about the privacy around this, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming there are some kids who are not so happy about having an app like this on their phones.
Yeah.
But then all of this data that you're collecting, I mean, is that only available to the parents?
Yeah.
How do you make sure that that's not shared?
Yeah, the model is the business model is based on the parents paying for us to analyze this data. A very small amount, $5 a month.
Okay.
And of course, we're not doing any other use with this data except for the parents. If we're talking about the privacy, the day-to-day privacy of the kids, you know, parents are parents. They need to know when there is problems. They need to know when they need to help their kids. When you talk with parents today, most of them don't know what's going on with their kids. Most of them think
Well, they
that
don't even know
their
what the apps are that their kids are using, so how could they know?
And even if they know, they don't know how they are using it,
Right.
because most of the parents don't know that kids today communicate direct messages on Instagram. They are still sure that they're using WhatsApp.
So we've been talking a lot about identifying when a child is being the victim.
Yeah.
How does this program work in terms of identifying the bully? Does it do that?
Yeah, so it can be also your child. So we analyze the text, and we analyze not only words, but we analyze also behavior and the connotation of the conversation. So it's not every time a kid says a bad word, it gets an alert, because from time to time, bad words can be a slang for you're joking. So we analyze also the connotation. We analyze all kind of behaviors in text. When someone asks your kid to come and meet him, we will alert it. Probably it's a conversation with a pedophile.
Wow.
So we analyze a lot of things that come from there. We give the parents the alert in real time, also about location. So you have the safe zones of your kid. You will be alerted when your kid enters or leaves a safe
So
zone.
basically, this is the app that every parent wants to have on their phone if they want to protect their child. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
with
you
this
very much.
information.
Thank you.
It's really an amazing app. I think about my little sister and how stressed I used to be when I would see the pictures she was posting online, and I'm going to tell Dad. Well, now Dad and Mom have a way to actually control that without the older sister being blamed for it. So that's pretty cool. All right, moving on now.
Moving on, though, in 2014, former Australian headmistress Malka was arrested in Israel for abusing dozens of school children in Melbourne, Australia, and then escaping to the Jewish state to avoid prosecution.
Now it looks like she will finally be extradited to Australia for trial in a case that has made international headlines for years now. Nightmares, anxiety. That's what Australian woman Dasi Ehrlich told her therapist she was experiencing, all because of what had happened to her at the Adass Israel ultra-Orthodox school in Melbourne. She is one of many young women who say they were sexually abused by Malka, their former headmistress at the school. And now, Leifer is going to be going to trial for 74 charges of sex abuse. In 2000, Malka left Israel to go and work at the ultra-Orthodox school in Melbourne. And then 8 years later, allegations of sex abuse against her began to come to light. Members of the school board decided to buy Leifer a ticket back to Israel so that she could avoid being charged. But in 2014, she was arrested in Israel after Australia filed for her extradition. The mother of 8 was soon deemed mentally unfit to stand trial, and a Jerusalem court suspended the proceedings. But in 2018, video footage appeared of the former headmistress leading a so-called fully functional life, leading her to be rearrested. Now, a court-ordered psychiatric panel has finally deemed Leifer as fit to stand trial, and is even accusing her of faking mental illness to avoid extradition. The Jerusalem District Court still has to convene and accept the psychiatric decision on Tuesday, and then decide whether Leifer can be extradited. The case has strained relations between Israel and Australia, but this latest development may ease tensions.
These are very, very serious charges that are laid against Malka, some of the most serious that exist on the statutes of Australian law. So this is not a matter that will damage Australia's very deep, very important and very constructive and long-standing friendship with Israel, but it is a matter that needs to be resolved.
Saga seems like it will never end.
Yeah, and something that I would like to add is that Israel's deputy health minister has actually been under fire for reportedly protecting Malka by pressuring psychiatrists to alter the conclusions of their reports. So a court would actually find her mentally unfit. Now, in fact, Israeli police say they have enough evidence for an indictment of Litzman for tampering with witnesses, and many are calling for him to step down from his position largely because of this whole case. So there are bigger implications here. All right, moving on.
In other news, the global legal marijuana market is expected to be worth more than $66 billion US by the end of 2024. And Israel has long been at the forefront of cannabis research and development. Joining us now in the studio is Amir Goldstein, the CEO of IMC Innovation. Thank you for being with us. Now tell me, how is it that your company has become the first Israeli cannabis company to be marketing in Europe, in the EU? What is it that you guys do?
Well, we've been working in Israel for over 10 years. We have thousands of patients here in Israel, so we have a lot of experience in cultivating and providing medical cannabis to patients, working with doctors, etc. When the German market opened up a couple of years ago, there was a discussion also here in Israel that there will be export from Israel, although we expected that there will be a lot of regulation and other problems. So we decided to go directly into the European market and to set up our own cultivation production site in Europe and market it in Germany. So we are already there marketing into pharmacies in Germany. Our product, which is very exciting.
Well, this is a huge deal, but I'd like to ask you a little bit about the kinds of strains that your company produces and focuses on, because we talk about marijuana as a medicine, but people don't understand that there are different strains and different types of cannabis that deal with different issues. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you guys offer?
Of course. There are thousands of strains of marijuana all over the world. Each one of them has a different pharmaceutical or therapeutical abilities, and it's very personal also.
Right.
So there is a lot of trial and error process into different indications, what works well for me, etc.
Right.
This is today, but the future is going to be pure medicine. And today, IMC Innovation, what we are doing is taking the existing strains and the existing molecules that are within the compounds that are within the cannabis plant, and working into medicine development.
Now, when you say strains, because I'd like to kind of get down to the gritty here. So a specific strain can treat anxiety, for example, or sleeping issues.
True.
Right?
True.
Can you talk to us a little?
It's well known from thousands and tens of thousands of patients experienced. Pain relief, very effective. We have a lot of post-traumatic patients, soldiers. It keeps them alive in a good manner. I wouldn't say it's not healing. It's not healing them from the post-traumatic.
It works with medicine,
but it works with medicine. Appetite for oncology patients. Appetite.
For those who have eating disorders.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not only that, when you are oncologist and when you get chemotherapy, you're losing appetite.
Of course.
It brings appetite, so you can deal with the illness better than what you've been doing.
Well, I can't wait to see the future of this and all the different products that you're making, because I know that this can be made into so many different things to help so many different people.
It will. We are very excited about it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we said that's impossible, but it turns out Israelis might soon be able to get kosher pork. It's all thanks to the Impossible Foods pork burger, which gained the company major credit at the Las Vegas Technology Exhibition this year. ILTV's Nittany Manson has the story.
Most Israeli restaurants don't have pork on the menu. You guys have pork here?
No, we don't. No pork in the house.
Do you guys have pork here?
No, it's not kosher. We don't have.
יש פה בשר לבן?
לא, אין פה בשר לבן.
But that might be about to change. The plant-based Impossible Burger started to roll out in 2016, and now they've done another impossible thing: give kosher and halal eaters a taste of pork. The Impossible Pork Patty appeared at the world-known Las Vegas tech exhibit and has had Israelis talking, because it will likely make its way across the pond and over to the Holy Land, where most of the population, both Jews and Muslims, don't eat pork for religious reasons. And those who have always wondered about the taste can try it without any reservation. The patty is made from soy plus fat substitutes like coconut and sunflower oils, in addition to the special meat flavor, which the company says is a biochemical molecule they can't reveal. The meat replacement industry is growing rapidly, earning $140 billion a year, and has helped fast food restaurants pick up clientele. A popular US pizza brand started using Impossible sausage meat on their pizzas in May of 2019 to appeal to those who wanted the pork flavor without the actual pork. And company insiders say they expect the pork burger will make aliyah or move to Israel very soon.
Well, I've always looked for a way to get my bacon, as a kosher meat. But in any rate, the real estate market is booming in Tel Aviv, and it seems like everywhere you go, there's construction. Well, now one building is getting some special treatment, and ILTV's Emmanuel Kadosh has all the details.
This building in Tel Aviv is about to be destroyed, but not before a group of artists make their mark on it.
People have been waiting over 2.5 hours online to check out the 15 apartments that artists from all over the city have completely transformed.
The City People are a group of entrepreneurs who have been taking urban regeneration to a whole new level, this time in the form of a pop-up museum.
So urban renewal is to demolish and to construct a new building instead of the old one. It helps also the city look better, and it also helps the city grow in a right way. So we donated the building completely to over 100 artists. Each one received a wall or an entire room, and they create their own art in the rooms and in the space that we have here.
Over 22,000 people have been waiting to see what magic these artists have created, from pop art to graffiti and everything in between.
Each one of the boxes painted here on the wall is actually the frames of these videos. I literally don't have one.
This is a DIY, do-it-yourself apartment, and we just put out paints here, and everyone could just paint their own way, put their own colors, and to do whatever they want and create your own reality. There is a little artist inside every one of us.
Let's take a look at the weather forecast. Tonight you can expect it to be 12 degrees Celsius or 53 degrees Fahrenheit in the center of the country. And tomorrow won't be as sunny as today. Meteorologists predict rain tomorrow with highs of 18 degrees Celsius or 64 degrees Fahrenheit.
And now before we go, let's take a look at what is going viral in Israel on tubing.
Now, this looks like the best way to make good out of the weather.
Yeah, this is what you call an Israeli truly taking advantage of the storm. Now, I wish that I had been smart enough to pull out a surfboard or a boogie board and do whatever this man is doing, because Yafo in Tel Aviv was absolutely flooded.
It's car wakeboarding.
And
you know,
you gotta look at the
late.
bright side of the storming,
It's
right?
not too
there
late,
it
you
is
still
for
can.
you.
But that's it for today's news. Today's exchange rate is 3.46 shekels to the American dollar. For more news from ILTV, please like ILTV on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. I'm Aaron Porras.
And I'm Natasha Kirchuk. Thanks for watching.